Detective Sarah McCall stood in front of the broken display case, the glass scattered across the polished wood floor. The heirloom, a centuries-old family necklace, had been taken in the dead of night, leaving nothing but a trail of shattered glass and confusion. To most, it would have seemed like just another theft. But Sarah had learned long ago that nothing was ever just simple in her line of work. She could feel it, the unease in the air, the quiet whispers that hinted at something deeper, something dangerous. The necklace wasn't just any family heirloom. It was a symbol of power and prestige, passed down through generations in the Sinclair family. Its beauty was undeniable, an intricate design with diamonds and sapphires, a centerpiece that had been the pride of the Sinclair lineage. But to those who understood its true value, it was more than just a necklace. It was a key to something far greater, a secret, buried deep in the family's past, one that people would kill to possess. Sarah had been called to the Sinclair mansion in the early hours of the morning when the theft was discovered. The family, shaken but composed, was waiting for her. The patriarch, Richard Sinclair, a wealthy and influential businessman, was standing in the grand foyer with his wife, Eleanor. Their two children, the ambitious Jonathan and the quiet Isabel, stood off to the side, their faces masks of concern. "Detective, thank you for coming so quickly," Richard said, his voice as smooth as his tailored suit. "I trust you'll be able to recover it?" "I'll do my best, Mr. Sinclair," Sarah replied, scanning the room. She was careful not to let her gaze linger on any one person for too long. The Sinclairs were a family of old money, their wealth and status built on decades of success and power. But beneath the polished exterior, Sarah knew there were secrets that no amount of money or status could protect. The family had already given their statements to the responding officers, and nothing about the crime scene suggested forced entry. The thief had to have known exactly where to look. The display case, though elegant, was easily bypassed by anyone with even the slightest knowledge of the mansion's layout. And the fact that nothing else had been taken, no cash, no jewelry, no other valuables, only added to the mystery. "I'll need to speak with each of you," Sarah said, addressing the family. "I'll start with you, Mr. Sinclair. What do you know about the necklace? Can you tell me its history?" Richard's eyes flicked toward his children before he answered. "The Sinclair necklace has been in the family for over 200 years. It's an heirloom, passed down from my great-great-grandfather. It's said to hold some historical significance, but frankly, I never paid much attention to that. It's more of a symbol of our family's legacy." "And does anyone else know about its significance?" Sarah pressed. Richard hesitated, and for a moment, Sarah could see a flicker of something in his eyes, a mixture of reluctance and fear. But he quickly masked it with a practiced smile. "I'm sure some of our more knowledgeable associates know about it. But it's hardly a secret." Sarah noted the discomfort in Richard's voice. There was more to this necklace than he was letting on, and Sarah could sense he wasn't telling her the full truth. But she let it go for now. "I'll need to speak with your children as well." Isabel, the younger of the two children, was standing near the staircase, her arms crossed tightly over her chest. She seemed distant, lost in her own thoughts. Jonathan, on the other hand, was pacing near the grand fireplace, his face a mask of frustration. "Miss Sinclair," Sarah said, turning to Isabel first, "can you tell me where you were last night?" Isabel looked up slowly, her eyes blank. "I was at home. In my room. I don't know anything about the necklace being taken." Sarah studied Isabel's face for any sign of deception, but there was none. The young woman seemed genuinely confused, perhaps even a little scared, but there was nothing in her demeanor that suggested guilt. Still, Sarah knew that appearances could be deceiving. She would have to dig deeper. Jonathan, on the other hand, seemed agitated. He barely made eye contact with Sarah as she approached him. "I don't understand," he muttered, running a hand through his dark hair. "Why would anyone steal it? It's just a necklace. What's the big deal?" Sarah's eyes narrowed. Jonathan's reaction was strange. Most people would be more concerned, more anxious, if something so valuable was taken from their family. But Jonathan's indifference seemed almost rehearsed. She decided to make a mental note of it, even though she didn't yet know what to make of it. "I'll need to speak with your father about the necklace's value, but for now, I'd like to ask if anyone has had any contact with outsiders recently, anyone who might have had knowledge of the necklace's location?" Jonathan shook his head. "Not that I know of." Sarah nodded and turned to leave the room, but as she reached the door, Richard Sinclair's voice stopped her. "Detective, if I may, I'd like to offer my full cooperation. If you need anything at all, don't hesitate to ask." Sarah turned back, giving him a tight smile. "I appreciate that, Mr. Sinclair. I'll be in touch." As Sarah left the mansion, she felt a gnawing sense of unease. Something about this case wasn't adding up. A few days later, the case took a sudden turn. The body of a man was discovered in an alleyway, the victim of a brutal stabbing. He had no identification on him, and his clothing suggested he wasn't from the area. The only clue was a small pendant, a replica of the Sinclair necklace, found in his pocket. The discovery of the pendant sent shockwaves through the investigation. The replica was identical to the real necklace, and it had clearly been made with care and attention to detail. It wasn't just a cheap copy, it was something more. The pendant had been crafted to deceive, to serve as a message. Sarah immediately connected the murder to the theft. The necklace wasn't just valuable for its historical significance, it held a secret, one that someone was willing to kill for. As Sarah dug deeper into the case, she uncovered a hidden network of people who had been investigating the Sinclair family's history for years. These weren't ordinary criminals, they were professionals, experts in forgery, blackmail, and murder. The more she learned, the more she realized that the heirloom wasn't just a symbol of family wealth. It was a key that could unlock a treasure hidden in the Sinclair family's past. But who was willing to kill for it? And why had the thief chosen now to steal the necklace? Sarah's investigation led her to a man named Victor Kane, a shadowy figure with ties to the criminal underworld. Kane had been linked to several high-profile thefts in the city, but no one had ever been able to pin anything on him. Sarah knew that Kane was the key to unraveling this case, but getting to him wouldn't be easy. She tracked him to a seedy nightclub on the outskirts of town, a place where criminals and business moguls alike rubbed shoulders in the dark. Sarah was careful, keeping her distance as she watched Kane from the shadows. She knew that if she made a mistake, it could be her last. But what she didn't expect was that Kane wasn't alone. Standing next to him was someone Sarah recognized, a face she had seen before, but one that didn't belong in this world. It was Isabel Sinclair. The realization hit Sarah like a ton of bricks. Isabel had been involved in the theft all along. But why? What had driven her to betray her own family? As the pieces of the puzzle fell into place, Sarah uncovered the truth behind the Sinclair heirloom. It was more than just a necklace, it was a map that led to a hidden fortune buried beneath the Sinclair estate. And Isabel had known about it all along. But Isabel wasn't the only one willing to kill for the secret. The murder of the man in the alleyway, the theft of the necklace, the lies and deceit, it was all part of a larger game, a game that involved not just Isabel but her father, Richard Sinclair, as well. He had known about the treasure and had been willing to do whatever it took to protect it. In the end, Sarah realized that the Sinclair family's legacy wasn't just built on wealth and power, it was built on a dark secret, a secret that had driven them all to commit murder and betrayal. The case was solved, but Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that there were still more secrets buried beneath the surface. The Sinclair family may have lost the heirloom, but they would never be free of the shadows of their past. And for Sarah, the truth was a heavy price to pay.